What Ted Turner taught us about breaking the concrete monopoly is more than a history lesson. It's a blueprint for an industrial revolution. We are currently trapped. Our cities are built on a gray lie sustained by giants who fear change more than they value progress. This is the truth about what Ted Turner taught us about breaking the concrete monopoly. Real innovation only happens when you stop asking for permission from the gatekeepers. The industry is stagnant, the materials are outdated, and the cost of following the herd is destroying our future. It's time to stop building like it's 1920 and start fighting like a titan. If you're a forward-thinking American who believes that engineering should move as fast as technology, subscribe to Story Shock right now. We are on a mission to reach our first 1,000 subscribers because the U.S. construction industry needs a wake-up call. Join us and help us build a community that values bold innovation over corporate monopolies. Topic 1. The Outsider's Mindset. Ted Turner versus the Giants. You know, my friend, there's a raw beauty in the story of someone who decides to take on the system when everyone else says it's impossible. Ted Turner wasn't just some business owner. He was the guy who looked at the three giants of American TV and said, "I'm going to do it better, and I'm going to do it 24 hours a day." That outsider audacity is exactly what's missing on construction sites today, where we just swallow whatever the big cement suppliers shove down our throats, without even questioning if there's a smarter, more profitable way. It's like that classic lesson from Napoleon Hill about a burning desire. Turner didn't have the biggest budget, but he had the vision that the information monopoly had to be broken for the world to move forward. In engineering, we're living through something similar, where a handful of conglomerates call the shots on what can and can't be built, suffocating any spark of real innovation. If you truly want to stand out, you have to stop thinking like a cog in the machine and start acting like the one who owns the table, questioning the industry's absolute truths. To give you an idea of how to put this into play, start looking into companies bringing green concrete to the U.S. market, like CarbonCure. They are the CNN of our era. Just like Turner went after satellites when nobody believed in them, you should be hunting for materials that slash the carbon footprint while boosting job site efficiency. It's about having the guts to be an early adopter of disruptive tech, leaving behind those who are still stuck in 1950s methods. And that leads us to why this barrier is so damn hard to break through. Topic 2. The Gray Wall. Understanding the concrete monopoly. My friend, have you ever stopped to wonder why, with all the technology in the world, the foundation of our cities is still made almost exactly the same way it was a century ago? There's an invisible gray wall, a monopoly of interests where big Portland cement producers control not just the supply, but the very codes that dictate what's considered safe. It's a rigged game where innovation is seen as a threat to guaranteed profits, creating a barrier that smothers any engineer trying to think outside the traditional box. Imagine trying to sell a smartphone in a world where telegraph manufacturers write the communication laws. Obviously, they'd tell you your device is dangerous or unnecessary. In construction, this translates to rigid building codes that favor the materials of those who already dominate the market, making it a nightmare for more efficient or sustainable mixes to get a foot in the door. If you want to be a master of your craft, you need to read books like Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor to understand that monopolies chase stability, not evolution, and stability is the death of innovation. To pop this bubble in real life, start by demanding that your suppliers provide environmental product declarations, or EPDs, so you can compare the actual impact of what you're buying. Don't just settle for the standard mix from your local plant. Hunt for cooperatives or new material startups that are challenging the prices and formulas of these giants. By doing this, you stop being a hostage to the system and start acting with the autonomy of someone who knows the monopoly only exists as long as we keep signing the same old purchase orders. Topic 3. The High Cost of Tradition. Why innovation fails at the site. You know, what hurts me the most about modern engineering is seeing brilliant materials, like hempcrete or bioconcrete, dying in a desk drawer because of the fear of industrial risk. There's this silent pressure on the job site that says, traditional is safe. But what they don't tell you is that this safety is costing us a fortune in efficiency and sustainability. It's the hidden cost of tradition. We'd rather fail with the old method than succeed with the new one, just so we don't have to explain something different to the investors. It's as if we're living in the streaming era, but we insist on renting VHS tapes just because that's the way it's always been done. And the shop owner is an old family friend. On the site, bureaucracy is the monopoly's muscle. It creates so many layers of testing and approvals for innovative materials that the small entrepreneur usually gives up before the first brick is even laid. To keep yourself from falling into this trap, I recommend reading Blue Ocean Strategy. It'll teach you to seek out markets where the competition is irrelevant, because you're using methods the giants can't even wrap their heads around. If you want to see change happen, start small by suggesting water-reducing admixtures or fly ash in non-structural parts of your project as a controlled test. You don't have to change everything at once, but create innovation islands where you can prove, with hard data, that the new material outperforms what the monopoly is handing you. As you document these small wins, you build the authority needed to challenge the status quo. And that brings us to a fascinating parallel about how taking care of the land might just be the biggest business deal of the century. Topic 4. Greener Pastures, Turner's Land Conservation and Green Concrete. My friend Ted Turner always had a deep connection to the land, eventually becoming one of the largest landowners in the U.S. to ensure nature was preserved. He understood, long before it was trendy, that true wealth isn't just in what you build, but in the health of the ecosystem that supports that construction. In engineering, we are living through that exact wake-up call right now, where so-called green concrete or low-carbon mixes are the ultimate opportunity to honor that legacy by challenging the pollution generated by the traditional giants. Think of sustainable concrete as the CNN of the construction world. At first, the dinosaurs of the industry laughed and said it would never work. But today, it's the only path for anyone who wants to survive in the long run. Using alternative binders and carbon capture during the curing process are technologies that turn a construction site from an environmental villain into a partner in urban regeneration. If you want to feel the weight of this movement, check out reports from the Global Cement and Concrete Association to see how the smart money is sprinting away from high-polluting gray cement. To apply this today, start specifying SCMs, supplementary cementitious materials, like blast furnace slag or metakaolin in your designs. By swapping out part of that traditional Portland cement for these materials, you're not just improving the structure's durability against chemical attacks. You're positioning yourself as a visionary leader in your region. It's about acting with the integrity of someone who mines their own soil, knowing that sustainable innovation is the final blow that will break the backbone of the old monopoly. Topic 5. Smashing the status quo. A call to action for modern engineers. The big lesson here, my friend, is that monopolies only fall when someone has the balls to stop playing by their rules and starts dictating their own. Ted Turner didn't wait for permission from the major networks to create the future of media, and you shouldn't wait for building codes to update themselves before you start innovating. Breaking the concrete monopoly starts at your drawing board, in your choice of supplier, and in your refusal to accept that the market standard is the ceiling of what you can deliver. Think of this like the think and grow rich mindset. You need an unshakable faith in your purpose to overcome the resistance of giants who profit from your stagnation. Being an engineer or a construction pro today requires you to be a strategist, someone who knows how to read the landscape and spot where the cracks in the system are appearing. If you want to be a respected leader, devour books like Nassim Taleb's The Black Swan to learn how to protect yourself from system failures and profit from the transformations that nobody else sees coming. In practice, I challenge you to be the Turner of your next project. Find an innovative alternative, run the numbers on savings and sustainability for your client, and don't take no from someone who's just too lazy to evolve. Start small, maybe a decorative element or an exterior pavement. But start today building your portfolio of disruptive solutions. When you become the person who solves what others don't even dare to question, you stop being just another name in the phone book and start becoming the authority the future demands. Conclusion. The big question left on the table, my friend, is this. Are you going to keep being just another silent brick in that wall of sameness, or will you be the sledgehammer that brings the monopoly down? The knowledge we explored today isn't just theory. It's an arsenal for those who are tired of being held hostage by massive conglomerates profiting from technological lag. Don't leave this Titan mindset in a drawer. Question your supplier, challenge those obsolete codes, and be the professional who brings the solution that nobody else has the guts to suggest. The American market doesn't need more followers. It needs leaders who, like Turner, understand that the risk of innovating is much lower than the risk of standing still. Are you ready to be the next one to break the rules of this game? Or are you going to wait for the system to fully collapse before you try something new? Drop a comment below with your take on the barriers you face on the job site. It's in this exchange that the real revolution begins. Make sure to subscribe to the Story Shock channel and hit those notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dives into what really moves modern engineering. We are locked in on that goal of hitting our first 1,000 subscribers to show that there's an audience hungry for real innovation and industrial courage. Be part of this movement right now.